Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namin, Karuna Swarupaya, Hare Krishna Prince
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Karuna Swarupaya, Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Krsna Prestayate.
So since I'm discussing this with most of the teachers and those who are practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, I like to reiterate something that can be helping us, give us clarity with what we're doing. You all went to school. You studied from nursery to secondary to college. So you follow the path and endeavor hard, work hard to understand, assimilate, and engage in sacrifice and daily routine, grinding routine, to be able to hear from your teachers. And after certain time, you took the test, you passed, you graduated. And you have this knowledge about the science of education to be able to teach. So now we're speaking here about, discussing here about the science of understanding our eternal relationship with God. And when you were in college, there is a grading system. And what is that grading system all about? That the teacher gives you first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, until the time you took the final test. So, at the final test, if the process is really, a system of merit system, meaning you went to that school and you did not just go to that school to finish, but rather to learn. So you can be applying, having this wisdom, understanding that you can be able to pass on what you have learned as a teacher. So the science of Bhakti Yoga is also a path, a process, an educational, spiritual process that the teachers are the saintly person, the spiritual master, and Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher. So we have been discussing last week about the 9 process of devotional service. It begins with hearing. It begins with chanting the holy names. Hearing means you listen. Not just hearing and then out of mind, space out. Listen so you can understand. And then you chant. You go to the temple and worship. You bow down to the deity. You offer obeisances. You offer your life. You make friends with the devotees. So these are practices that will help us be in tune, be able to get immersed in what's being taught. So now I'll describe to you the different advancement or different situation of different individuals in their progress towards graduation or spiritual life. Just like you graduated. Some of you graduated with flying colors. Some of you graduated with maybe pasang-awa. Or some of you graduated because of fortune. Because you worked so hard. But here, we'll describe now the reason we should be really serious with the practice so we can get immersed and understand why. So now I'll describe to you the 4 stages, the 3 stages of spiritual advancement or maturity. When we speak of someone who is a neophyte, just like when you were in grade 1, you were taught how to do, you were not able to write clearly as of now, you know. They taught you how to do circle, circle, round, 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 line, 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 until your hands get too used to, you know, writing. Then they teach you the science of arithmetic, plus, minus, and they also teach you ABC. And they teach you how to construct sentence, to compose paragraph. And with that, they teach you to, in the process, they teach you so many words, vocabulary, and how to do correct, how to be doing correct writing composition and everything. Now, you have succeeded. So, in spiritual life, the Neophyte Devotee, or the Kanista Adhikari, what we call the Neophyte, just like someone who is in grade 1 or kindergarten, his attraction to God, he cannot see and understand God clearly. So his idea of God is that he's in the temple. He's in the church. So he goes to the place of worship and experience God's awesome presence. Just like when I was a child, there's this church, big church, and you go there, it's really dim, and then there's a piano, and during that time, the prayer is, what's this? Latin, Dominus Vobiscum, you know. And wow, so big, the temple, everything. You feel the presence of God. And being helpless, you want to take shelter of God in that place. But when you go out, what happened? You're not thinking of God anymore because you're thinking God is just in the church, in the temple. You understand? Understand? So someone who makes progress in spiritual life, he becomes mature slowly. He sees God. He sees the devotee of God. He sees someone who is not really attracted to the service of God, who does not like God. He can see God. He can see the innocent. He can see someone who is inimical to God. And he can hear the Lord within the heart. So it happened, it is achieved because he underwent or she underwent the process of spiritual education. So now, the process given to us by the teachers, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, the science of devotional service. It begins with hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers. And then, when a person progresses, his mind now is focused and diverted. He's able to draw the mind away from the suffering and the contamination of this world. And now he can direct his senses, his life in focus where he's longing for his relationship with God. So that is achieved through association with devotees and programs that has been given to us. So if we don't practice it, we don't apply it, this educational process, when we leave the premise of the school, we are lost into oblivion because our shelter will be the mind. It will be very hard. So the process gives us, the system connects us with our eternal relationship with God, and the practice itself gives us happiness. We become enthusiastic. There is a reason to wake up. There is a reason to do things in the service of God. It's always about what can I do to assist, to do, to serve God. In material, you were brought up all of us were brought up in a materialistic society with pseudo-religiosity. But the center is about ourselves. It is about survival for existence. To survive, to protect ourselves. But nobody is really protected. Nobody really survived in the survival of existence in the material world with this body. So our focus in material life is about just protecting the body, becoming hard, becoming strong. That is the science we learn from the materialistic educational institution. And the wisdom is about manipulating matter to be able to control. But it is not really satisfying. It's full of fear, it's full of unhappiness, and that is the process we have been exposed. So we now want to have something that has clarity, that has continuity, that will give us protection and pleasure, but we don't know where to look. But by the mercy of God, because God is in control, He knows your heart, He controls everything, every atom, God is everywhere. It belongs to Him. So when a person, by God's mercy, is fortunate to come in contact with God, with the teachings of God, now he gets attracted to the process, because there are poor individuals who are kanista adhikari, neophytes, who will be attracted to the process of bhakti yoga. Number one, someone who's very miserable. Miserable. He's so empty, he's always angry. Why? Because his education, his materialism, his protection is the mind. And the mind is the seat where anger is, lust is, and greed. And it's the driving force, and he cannot get out of it. He's so miserable because of his contact with this material world, with the formula he's engaging in. She gets married, or he gets married, The husband leaves her, or the wife leaves him. The son, in the beginning, oh, so nice, even though they're rolling in shit, oh, so nice, even though they cannot talk, oh, she's a bride. Your focus is upon the body, Krishna's arrangement, that the baby body is attractive. So that's nature arrangement. The mother and the father, wow, so cute, even though he's rolling in shit and weaving on it, and he's in the pool of shit and urine, But the mother, wow, take care of that, diba? But will you do that to someone who's already grown up? No, diba? Because that is nature arrangement. Because the child is helpless, it is arranged by Mother Nature that you'll be taken care of. So, through the experience, the person is so miserable, always anxious. Anxious, I cannot get what I want. And if you get it, you're anxious to keep it. The goal is to have beauty, to accumulate, have someone who's really beautiful. Now you get that beautiful lady, and everybody's ogling at her. And you look, why are you looking at my wife? Everybody wants your wife. You get insecure. You're working. You call. What are you doing? Who are you with? It's always an anxious world. And then, he comes in contact with the process. And another person, I'm so poor with nothing, Ultimo, kabus kayo, wala gyud, di ba, masiunsa. I work in the evening, I make the night, daytime, still, hand-to-mouth existence is a struggle. There's no food in the plate. And when I see the advertisement from the movie, and I go, the big screen there, everybody's eating, delicious food, and I look what I'm eating, I can hardly buy something. I'm so poor. And then you get attracted. I want God. So you get attracted to the process. The other one is curious. I've heard all the experience. Miserable, loving relationship, COVID, everything. And then I hear Doc needs 106.9, and I hear the play of Krsna, how they're being protected. What is that? They're always singing the whole day. Krsna, Krsna, Krsna. What is that? For a year, they're always Krsna, Krsna, Krsna. What is that? You get curious. You come to the center, to the place, and everybody's just looking at you. What are you doing? Every morning I pass by, I hear the chanting. You've been doing that for years and years and years. And he gets curious. And then when he see the Life Force series, the teachings, what's this? He gets curious. He gets attracted. He chants. And the other one is intelligent. But sometimes so intelligent, but so cunning also. It's always about himself, What is that? I understand this place, And he wants to get something also, and uses his intelligence. He's intelligent because he sees that the world is a place of suffering, and there's no shelter here. Everything that he has, he will leave it behind. He came with nothing. He lived with nothing. He have a relationship with someone, and that person leaves. He leaves the body. So it's a world of pain. Is there a solution? Who am I? Why am I here? What is that? He's intelligent. So, number one, someone who's miserable. Someone who's very poor. Someone who's curious. Someone who's very intelligent. So you can categorize where you stand, where you belong. So you come in contact with the process, the institution of Parampara, Krishna's educational world. The process is different from what you have learned, because the teachers are all imperfect, to be in illusion, their senses are limited, and the knowledge is relative, meaning, what is relative? It's not absolute and eternal. It's not absolute and eternal. Just like before, who's this guy? They're thinking that the earth is flat. Diba? Before, earth is flat. But that's relative knowledge. And they found out now with the technology that the earth is floating with a gravitational force, and it's not flat. And the reason it's flat, because it's so vast, it's so big, we're not even understanding that we are not standing vertically straight like here, because the earth is like this. We are all standing parallel like this. And the reason we don't fall because of gravity, because there is a force, there's an energy that connects us with this world. We're not floating. It means there is gravity, the law of gravity. No? So it's intelligent, that person. Now we come in contact with this process. So what is this all about? It is about our eternal nature as transcendental, not to be touched by this miserable world. And the reason we're touched, we're covered, because we are now covered by this body. And why are we in this body? Because we want to play God, and God allows us to play Lord. He gives us this field of activity, this body, this machine. But the problem is we are responsible for our action. We're not powerful. And the other one also is our true eternal nature, to be rendering service. The president, what is the foundation, or what do they call that? What do they call that? The platform when somebody runs for the highest post. What does he tell us? I am here to serve the people, to give you economic development. I am your servant. Diba? He gets elected. But he's very powerful. In the morning, he serves the dog. The dog goes around, morning, oh, where's doggy Kobe? Yeah? Take off the harness because he's gonna shit. Instead of shitting in this White House, in the Oval Office, bring him out. So the president goes after him, wherever the dog goes, to serve the dog. And then the other servant, Kobe, shitted, clear it. And then he ties the gun, come. He kisses the dog. He look at the eyes of the dog, Oh, my friend, embrace the dog. He wants to serve. He wants to love. So our true nature, eternal, real activities, is that we're eternally the loving servant of God, and we should be engaging in that transcendental world. But in this world, it's very hard. That's why there is an educational process that this material world, although material, this body is material, we can connect it and be in a world that is transcendental, not touched by this world, without karma or reaction. Because under the guidance of spiritual master, he teaches us the science of karma yoga, action in the service of God. Meaning whatever we do, we offer to God in devotion. We are not the recipient of the result. But in a truer sense, it goes back to us. For example, we like to eat. Everybody likes to eat delicious food. So we're given this opportunity to cook delicious food. But we have a process, a system, that you can offer it to Krsna in the form of the deity. And who partakes the food? It's us. And the process is so purifying that it purifies us. We become enthused, we become encouraged to cook nice food and offer to Krishna and eat it afterwards. But we're not cooking because we want to taste it, but rather we want to please Krishna. But in the end, it goes back to us, because offering to God is like watering the root of the tree. So we learn this science. So when we become so practiced, it becomes our life to serve God, to offer to God. Our whole meditation is simply in meditation of pleasing and doing the will of God through this process that is given to us in practice. Hearing, chanting, offering prayers, it becomes our life. Then when we make progress, we become successful, because even though we are outside of this institution, we have made this body the temple of God. We have made our life, our whole being, as a loving servant in heart, through the practice that has purified us and brought us to the stage of our true transcendental nature. So we progress from Kanista Adhikari, from a neophyte practitioner who sees God in the temple, and when he's outside, he does not remember God. And also, there's a danger. If you are in this institution, and instead of diving and understanding and partaking in the process with your life in practice, what you do, you don't take part. You're there, but you're not there. Why? Because the mind, which should be diverted, to draw the mind away, we don't want. We rather go into the darkness and try to embrace the mind and wrestle with the mind. When we're angry, it's like wrestling with pigs. You're angry, you wrestle with your mind, you get shitty. That's why when you're angry, when you are unsatisfied, instead of diving into the world of darkness, you're already blind, but still you cannot get out of this. It's like what they call, this, they have this saying, like, it gets sticky and you cannot get out and you're blind. So what you do, you wrestle with the mind, and the mind, all the desires are there. You try to fend it off, those experience of pain and suffering, and you want to run away from it. That is the reason when you're angry, you're irritated, because that's not your true nature. When you're angry, I should not be doing this. But because we are so much engrossed, experiencing this for so long, we have become conditioned. And if we don't have a process, even though you're here in Madana Mohana Academy, in this transcendental environment wherein we can study the science and apply it, the hearing, the chanting, the 9 process of devotional service, our meditation is not very fixed. So when we go out of this institution, or we are alone, we're lost into oblivion, because you will be wrestling with your mind, trying to fend the mind and the desire, and it's bringing you nowhere and giving you pain. You have nailed the last nail in your coffin because you have dived into the darkness of oblivion. Helpless. It's like you're in the ocean of misery. You need air. You need shelter. But instead of holding the hand, that boat, that I can hold on, the hand of the person giving you this process, instead of holding it, you dive in and you drown. And then you become an impersonalist, or you commit suicide thinking, if I don't have this body, I'm this body, no more sufferer, I'm gone. So that is the word of the Kanista Adhikari. You must progress. We must progress. The difference with material education is just embedded in your mind. You all went to school. You studied for how many years? From nursery to... Can you remember all the teachings that you have heard? No. It's all gone. My friend told me, you know what? He's very intelligent. You know what? When I was in college, what can be taught the whole year, I can understand it in 1 month. But because there are different students there with different mental capability to grasp, and also the business of school. So they put it a year to understand. And I'm there. That's why here in Madana, you see those genius students, they're not interested. They just play and play. The teacher tells them, like that. And then they're on their own world. But you see, they're the valedictorian. They get the highest grade. So you can see that this science, that material science you have understood in the truest sense, to be able to enter the world that is eternal and connected with eternal happiness, you can use it. The English, the mathematics, and everything in connection. How to be connected with the pleasure of God. So as a teacher, as a mother, you can engage in karma yoga under the guidance of the spiritual master. But the fruit of this practice is that you live the life of the devotee, you live the life of serving God, it becomes your life, which is our true eternal life. That's why when a person is miserable, he wants to get out of it. Just like when you're drowning, you need air. You want to get out of that drowning situation. But if you don't have the process, what will you do? You'll die. You're very thirsty in the desert. You're dying of thirst. You need to quench your thirst. But you're in the desert, But there's an oasis there. Instead of trying to get out of the desert, there's a chance, there is someone who's going to guide you. No, I'll just stay here and die of thirst and shrivel because you think you're the body. You fend off suffering by your own self. And then you lose because you're not all powerful. In material life, we want to become strong, to become hard, to fend off matter. But in reality, you by nature, all of us, we're gentle, we're kind, we're loving. So what will be our foundation for protection? It is the humility and understanding that I'm limited, I'm lost, and I have someone who cares for me, my eternal friend, Lord Krsna, who loves me, the Lord of love. And He gives me this process so I can be purified and enter that world. So the material science you have learned, it's relative. What's true today, years from now, it's already not true anymore. But there is an absolute truth. And that absolute truth is about our eternal true nature, full of happiness. Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means our eternality. Transcendental. We are transcendental, not this body, life, eternal. As described by Scripture. As we experience. You already had experience in your life the death of a baby body. You were once in a baby body. You were once in a young girl's body. In a nice sweet 16 body. Now you're in the middle-aged body. Now you're in old woman's body. All those bodies are gone. They're dead. You have already passed through different bodies. And you're still existing. Now, like me, I am in this old body. So it means if I see time is, time is moving. It does not wait. Time and tide waits for no man. But we are not really serious about it. Because we don't know the problem we're facing. We've become conditioned to experience birth, death, disease, and old age. We're suffering, but we love it, We begin to taste it. Just like the camel who eats the leaves of the kiawe tree and tastes his own blood. And what do people, those so-called preachers, teach us? It's part of life. It's a learning process. To die, to get brokenhearted. It's a learning process to suffer from hunger. And your house get burned, you got everything that you have got stolen, and everything got burned. You are now alone and lonely. It's a practice that you must understand because God is testing you. This is nonsense. God will not test you. It's not like you come to the process, the spiritual master, and you're already feeble. You cannot walk in a wheelchair. The spiritual master will not tell you, give me 10 push-ups. See if you're qualified. No, he's already fallen. You cannot do anything. He takes you. He gives you Krsna. And then when you come in contact with the process, you see how much you've been loved, how much you have been cared. Who really cares for you? The educational system? Your father, your mother? The only one who loves you eternally is Krsna, God. And that world is the world of sweetness. That's why we're longing for sweetness. We're longing for happiness. And it can never be found in this material world. And a disconnection with this selfish block of false ego. We must purify it through the practice. That's why when you get so practiced, you undergo or go to a educational institution. Like previously, there is a spiritual Vaishnava educational institution wherein the child goes to that institution. But now, there's none. So here, we're given this opportunity to learn that because we are eternal, we're eternally the loving servant of God, and we can check in ourselves how much we're making progress. Then we should take advantage of this teaching, this process. We cannot just wrestle with the pig, with the mind, because we are not the mind. We try to depend ourselves, How do people depend themselves when there's so much, you get so much immersed from sense perception. You contemplate, wow, she's the one I love, or he's the one I love. I'll give him my heart. I offer service. I give him my service, my life. Love me, I'll serve you. I kneel down. Will you marry me? I'll give you this ring. Will you marry me? I'll serve you. But in the end, what happens? You experience the pain. And then what protection do? They cannot run away. It's like running away from your shadow. It's all embedded in your mind, the experience. So what they do, they try to forget. Now they're sitting in this bar alone, and they go to the bar. They talk to the bartender, give me something that will give medicine to my heart. I'm broken-hearted, it's not really broken, just broken. It crumbled. My life crumbled. My foundation, my shelter. Okay, I'll give you brandy, 99% with piña colada. You drink. And then you begin to tell, you know what, I'm suffering. And the bartender listens to you. Oh, some more, drink some more. And then nighttime comes, you're there, vomiting, out conscious. That's what's happening to us. We are all materially conscious, engrossed. That is our situation. And then what do you see? A person, okay, I want to be alone. I want to be alone. To experience, the love, the pain, how painful it is. And there's a song, lonely table just for one. And then you drink. Painful. I want to forget her. I want to forget him. Then someone tells you, go to the psychiatrist. There's no problem about that. I'll give you prescription drugs. Anti-stress. Anti-distress. You become a junkie. You become numb. You become crazy. And you're just there looking, there's this war. It's like war, you're in the middle where everybody's killing one another, and you're just there, a junkie under the protection of the psychiatrist who just gave you drugs, walking. And that is our predicament. So look at your situation. So we must progress from a neophyte, kanista adhikari, to become progressive in our relationship with God. That we can see God, we can see the devotee of God to hear from Him. We can see God that when we come to the temple, we see through the eyes the wisdom, the blessing that is given to us. The holy names, we receive it through the ear. And then we're so practiced, we won't be wrestling with the mind in darkness. We're already blind. But what we do, we embrace blindness. We embrace darkness and try to protect our own self. You have seen the sun? In the morning, it has not yet risen, but it's coming out. Now it's already out. But before it rises, it's already clear. So when you come in contact, when you're drowning, you come in contact with the spiritual master. When you're drowning in this ocean, you just hear, brrrr, oh, I can be saved. There's a helicopter, And then when it's in front of you, someone, hey, hold this, jump inside and we will pull you up. So when we have problems in this world, we should see our spiritual consciousness, our status. We go to church because we have problems. My mom just went to the hospital. I have to go to the church, Dear God, please don't let my mom die. Then, there's a test. I worked so hard about survival. What if I fail? So I'll take the test so I can be a professional. And then you go to God, please don't let me fail. Don't let me fail. That's what our relationship. But what if you come to a place where you can be in the spiritual world? When Krsna embraces you and you have this connection of what is eternally yours, your heart, your love. So that is the science that's been given to us. So we must make progress. If we're not progressing, just like here in Madana, Most of you, you're here, you're staying with us. If you don't have the enthusiasm to take part, to pitch in, you know what's pitching in? Because we have this program, Toka here. Somebody takes care of the DT. Somebody takes care of everything here, finance and everything. And you have just one work. And if it's not your work, you don't even think, what can I do? You're just there hanging around, spacing out, drifting, trying to embrace darkness. And then when it's time to be in the presence of God, you cannot say, let us put ourselves in the presence of God. Who are you to put yourself in the presence of God? You're not all-powerful. You're not God. And God comes as His mercy. The temple, the deity worship, the chanting of the holy names. So all you got to do, bring your body there, so to become purified from this lordship, from this contamination of being selfish, of this enviousness of God, of being alone, dying alone, living alone. You die alone in misery. Why? You take shelter of the material energy. You follow the mind. You die miserably. And then what happens? You see everybody in anger because you're angry at Krishna. It's not that you're angry at this person. You're angry at this person because you're angry at God. Because you cannot do your own will to control. Because you think you're giving me suffering. And then when you're in an environment, you're taken out of that miserable world in a place where you can chant to become purified. The holy names, the process, the association with the devotees, the supreme purifier, Lord Krishna. You don't take advantage? Then when you leave the temple, you go out somewhere, you're in a very precarious situation because you don't have that loving relationship in loving meditation. Your mind is not drawn away from matter. You have not really practiced and applied it. You have never learned anything. So when you go out, what do? Once upon a time, I came in contact with Madana, Mohana. We were chanting. What are you doing now? I'm wrestling with the pigs, I'm trying to eat shit, I was once chanting, You never understand. You ever enter that world? The devotee, he goes to the material world, but he's not in the spiritual world. Our Gurudev is a resident of the spiritual world. He sees Lord Krishna in transcendental sadness, seeing us here, trying to enjoy, separate from Him, not serving Him, not loving Him. And we're so hard-hearted. We're angry at God. We want to play God. And the spiritual master wants to appease the transcendental sorrow of Krishna. He comes here, but he's not here. He's completely with God. The spiritual world comes through the Guru, because the Guru is non-different from God. And if we are not appreciating it, we are not able to take advantage of what He's giving to us. That's why we're lost in this miserable world. We'll be suffering life after life, birth after birth, death after death. But we're always angry. That's why when you're angry, you have to, express it through words, through action, running away. Just like you come in contact with the spiritual master. He gives you instruction. You get angry. Two ways. You just drop everything behind, walk away. You don't want to hear. The other one, you argue. No, it's not like this. I like to eat thorns. I like my cake with broken glass, I love it, I like to drink, this alcohol and poison and drinks. Instead of smoking, I'll just smoke shabu, You want always to fight. You don't have this humility. That when a person is drowning, helpless, he sees his situation. Just like you're drowning, you're helpless, the sharks are there, the crocodiles are there. What will you do? Naturally, we're selfish. Save me. That's why you go to the church. Save me. Diba? Save me, protect me. Because you're helpless. But when you're not thinking you're drowning, you think, I got my own, Be a man, Do your own will. I don't need anyone. I don't need anybody to tell me, in my drowning stage. But that's why the reason you must understand the reality of this world. You're drowning, you're blind, you're lost, you're suffering. But nobody will tell you that. The so-called spiritual teacher will tell you, oh, you're very nice devotee. You're very nice, you're very holy. Oh, join us, Just give 10% of your salary, so we can live nicely together. We pray, raise our hand, hallelujah, amen. And then thinking, I'm gonna go be saved. And what do they teach? Salvation. You don't want to be saved? You should join us. And, I have a friend, I met him, he tell me, you want to be saved? Who cares about being saved? What? You don't want to be saved? What's the point? Di ba? Saved from what? From the suffering? No. You're in this material world or in the spiritual world. What should be established is our eternal, transcendental, loving relationship with God. That is the science we're studying every day. And it comes with God Himself. Krishna will embrace us through the holy names. Krishna will purify us. So you don't need to forgive yourself. What we should do is we should understand in humbleness, in humility, we're lost, we're helpless. Get away from this arrogance, That's why you see Haridas Thakur, when he went to Jagad and Madai, they're killers, murderers, full of vices. Everybody sees them. And what is their world? Their world is, I'm gonna exploit, control, dominate, enjoy this world. But when they came in contact with, Lord Nityananda and hurt him, Lord Chaitanya came, they saw God's anger. I'm gonna kill you, cut off your head with the Sudarsana chakra of Lord Krishna. And now they can understand that they're not in control. They're gonna die. So they feel, wow, we're helpless. And in humbleness, please forgive us. You experience birth, death, disease, and knowledge. You experience being broken-hearted. You have different fathers transmigrating from different bodies. Your loved ones now, can be different in the future. You have been suffering so much. And the spiritual master tells you. And how can we understand that? With the wisdom of our true identity and understanding our true natural position. Yes, I'm eternal. I should not be finding happiness where there is temporary. And not only that, what is inseparable from me is my love. Where will I direct it? Whom will I love? So stop this world of being taught to us, love yourself, Love yourself. Forgive yourself. Give gift to yourself this Christmas because you're so unhappy. Nobody loves you, Love yourself. Have positive thinking. You're strong, you're beautiful. Because beauty is in the eyes of the beholden, These are all nonsense. Open up your eyes. And not only that, we must be very protected by Krishna himself. That when we leave the premise of Madana, Krishna still having us, embrace us. When we are so practiced we have directed the mind, our whole being, with this transcendental truth. I belong to Krishna. By belonging, I embrace Krishna. So, if there's problems, when I'm irritated and everything, you remember, Krishna, then it's solved. But we must realize it, understand it, and come to that point. And that is the life of the saintly person. All of you went to school, but have you ever asked your professor the goal of life? Have anyone of the people there have made a decision? I want to be a lover of God. I want to be a saintly person. I want to go God. I want to serve and please God. None. But you come to Madana, tells you, hey, you're an asshole, you're a jackass, you're stupid and crazy, you're lost. What? I want to stay here because people, they don't see my value, I went 10 years in school, 15 years. I have the diploma, my room, all trophies. I'm number one. And you come to Madana, they tell you, You're nobody, man. You're shit. You ain't shit. Not shit. You ain't shit. We don't give a rat a shit about what you are. Your true nature is that you're eternal. You're eternally the loving servant of God. You must be purified. And if you want, you can learn it from the saintly person. What do you really have? That's why when this person, he went to Rupa Goswami, or I think this great devotee, he's looking for he heard that he's so poor, really poor. And when the devotee saw him, his horoscope, his future, this guy has nothing. And when he approached this devotee, he said, do you have this touchstone? Touchstone that when it touches metal, it becomes gold? Yes. Why? I want to see it. Why? I want to have it. Why is gold very important? It's synonymous with wealth, power, control. Di ba? If you have wealth, you can buy beautiful ladies. You can buy intelligent people. You can buy material things, material facilities. That's why everybody is into economic development. But that separates you with God when you are in this lordship mentality. You must understand your true eternal position as a caretaker of this body, caretaker of what you have, that good karma you have. So that's my point. The point is that we must see the problem we are facing, and if we want a solution, you are in the proper place because we are guided by Krsna himself. And the process that we do every day is an eternal, transcendental process that gives fulfillment to the heart. The more you chant, the more you want to chant. The tongue follows, the mind follows. So your heart is connected with the source of energy. So you're in meditation every day while doing your work as a teacher, as a mother, because you are now connected with the mercy of God, the supreme lovable person, the source of joy. And it comes with the holy names Krishna. Haribol, Namaste.
Paramahamsa Hara